you can't abide by silence anymore. You have been so drugged by the chemistry of your body, constantly processing bullshit information, that the drug of processing information makes you seek out distractions. Whereas when I shut down everything, and I say, no more this, boom, we're not going to talk, we're not going to do this, we're going to sit still, you bug out. Because you've been programmed to take in, to have input constantly. So you have no time to think about your condition. All you are doing is reacting, reacting, reacting. What does he do when you don't pay attention anymore? He shoots 2 or 3 of our brothers in the streets. He got your attention now. When you say, well, you look like you want to go off into another direction, and we're going to raise up, we're going to buy another direction, and we're going to raise up, we're going to buy our own land, get our own crop. He does something over here. It is constantly to take your attention off of what the real deal is, and that is giving him the attention. When you draw your attention from him, when we shut down all our lights, like I said at the last gathering, you shut down all your lights, you don't go to work for 2 or 3 weeks. You say in your mind, I do not want to live this way, so I will die according to my own rules and regulations. I will no longer live the way he wants me to live, so that he can thrive and flourish. Once I pull the plug on everything, I know there are going to be some casualties. But what's going to happen to him when I don't pay attention to him anymore? His true nature will come out. He will either have to beat us on the head and start eating us, which will then show him his own savagery, because right now his savagery is contained. Everything in the news has a censor, and the censor is the news anchor man. He is telling you what you're supposed to see, even though you're looking at the picture and you can get another interpretation. When you look at the news, shut the voice off and look at the news without the voice, and you'll see 2 different things. So he is interpreting your world for you because he's got you paying attention. And if you interpret the world the way he hasn't told you it is, that means he's got your attention. So if you're looking at the fact that black people got a whole lot of problems because white people is this, and because y'all don't do this, and y'all got a lot of crime, and y'all parrot that same thing, boom, he's got your attention. Because that's not what's real.
And that attention gives him life?
Gives him life and power. Because just like any other vampire, he needs the light of your attention to survive.
That's a pretty heavy statement. In other words, you were saying it is our energy focused on him. But then how would you explain him coming into Africa and totally conquering Africa, so much that he was not in the interior of Africa, and yet we sold ourselves and raided ourselves and helped him bring us to destruction? You
have to remember that everything that's done, if you speed it up, fast forward it, you will see it. There's almost an intelligence at work. Now, I remember people say, well, damn, you think we needed to be slaves? No. Remember I said at the beginning that all diseases, when a body goes through disease, let's just talk about your physical body. When your body goes through a disease, it's going through a process. And you, by the process, based on the way the white or the Caucasoid or the recessive works, he wants you to hurry up to the process because he wants to put you back on his timetable. But disease is a process of health. And that the way that you defeat disease is by allowing it to come out. That's the secret. The secret is the barbarism and the madness and the New World Order and all that. That's the pimple getting ready to be raised up on the skin. You ain't know what's underlying in your body until the body raises that pimple to the surface. Then you know you got problems in your body. This Caucasoid is the zit of the planet. And everything he has done, he has taken violence, mayhem, and chaos to a new and scientific level, which intrinsically was what was actually begun by our lack or misdirection or misapplication of our spiritual selves. So we say, well, the black people created? Yes, we created him. Because whatever it is that we did to forget who we really were, ended up being him. Because who is he except everything that we have forgotten about ourselves, or what we really refuse to face in ourselves and refuse to do. So Now, if we don't realize that the attention is not him, the attention to the disease, for instance, somebody says, a good friend of mine, not really good, but a very close acquaintance in what I did back in the natural healing world when I was with Heal Thyself. She just passed away of what was cancer. We look at the localized area of the body. For instance, if you have cervical cancer, and we look at cervical cancer, and immediately, according to the Caucasoid or the recessives, they attack where the disease expressed itself. And then they even give a name to it, cervical cancer. But it's not cervical cancer. That is just the place where the body chose to exteriorize the mental process that destabilized the body's homeostasis and brought it out at that area. This is where most of the thought processes would have localized itself in order for it to have worked itself out. But it is the total body. It is the total body we're speaking about. So when you bring that full circle, it is not the white man as being the problem. It is us, the total body of the black man, that needs to be dealt with on a whole, not in a fragmented level. But what you do is, the distraction is the cervical cancer. So we look at the cervical cancer not realizing the cause of the problem was what was being done to the total body in the first place.
I think this might be a good place. I want to come back to some other issues. In particular, I want to deal with the last gathering of the masters down in Atlanta, but I want to hold that to the end. But I think this is a good place to segue into health. I actually, to look at health, we were talking over the phone, and you were explaining how the African, more or less, we dealt with the tree. And if the tree was actually drawing all of the nutrients from the earth, and pretty soon it would deplete. Well, the earth does become depleted of minerals when you oversaturate it with a particular plant or so forth. But you explained something I thought was extremely important, and I want to tie that into what you were saying right now in terms of the whole body health and this mental health being expressed through, degenerate condition. But looking at light, who we are, how we take in nurture, what is this body and how does it function in terms of its organs and its nutrition, its electromagnetic fields, and etc. I just found what you were saying was extremely different and interesting, and perhaps we can talk about it.
You said something about the tree. We can go back to the scenario of the tree, and we think that the tree.
Yeah, we were looking at those big redwoods, so I identify the tree so you get a better picture.
Better picture it, yeah. And for the people who would view this tape, to understand that we are not made of food, and that another part of our misuse of attention, for want of a better phrase, is that we are somehow creatures of food. That without food, we don't live. And that, of course, is part of the illusion. That's part of the recessive paradigm. Why I say that is because if you look at the dynamics of a tree, as we explained before, something like a redwood that's the size of this room or twice the size of this room, you could drive a truck through one of the trunks. If you look around at the ground that redwood has grown in, there are no indentations or no removal of soil. No depletion of soil, nothing, but yet still you have a 300-foot tree, which is enormous. How is that? Well, the principle of life is not what the recessive paradigm has factored it or perceived it to be. When a tree is in the ground, three things are in operation. First of all, the life form itself and how it processes life to become life. It is a seed. And once planted in the ground, certain electromagnetic energies triggers its potential within. Okay. That potential